we in this? Ah. So, as the stream title would suggest, we are going to be exploring the historic format today, which is something I have not done ever at all. I just have not had any interest in doing so. But with the release of Kaladesh Remastered, I get a chance to play some of the cards that I had a lot of fun with at the time. Um, Namely, Glint Sleeve Siphoner. This is one of my favorite cards from the Kaladesh Ether Revolt block. I think this was an Ether Revolt card, if I remember correctly. But it's basically the best version of Dark Confidant that's existed outside of Dark Confidant. And this one doesn't require you as much to craft your deck around to play it optimally. I've played it in decks that have very few ways to generate energy outside of, Ether Hub or something like that. But you can also play it in a dedicated energy deck like this, where we have Siphoner plus Attune with Ether, and Rogue Refiner, and Bristling Hydra to generate some extra energy. You got a Singleton Ether Sphere Harvester here. I have no idea if this is going to be good or not, but I kind of wanted to have a thing that I could use my energy on outside of Glint Sleeve, Siphoner, and Bristling Hydra. But the energy cards as a whole, I enjoyed playing with. If you were playing that standard format, you remember that being a pretty oppressive mechanic, because they basically didn't have any way for you to interact with it. It was essentially you were playing energy, or you were playing something that generated less resources, because energy was basically just this thing you get for free on top of everything. So, like, for example, this card ended up getting banned out of that format. 3/2 for 3 mana, draws a card, you get 2 energy. I mean, that's, on the face of it, it doesn't look like it's, anything that crazy, but just in conjunction with everything else that was going on. In fact, Attune with Ether got banned as well. It's just Lay of the Land plus 2 energy. That's basically all it is. But that was good enough. So aside from that, we're playing some other stuff that's been legal in the format. But again, I'm just kind of dipping my toes in, so I'm going to be getting my bearings a little bit. Oh, I should mention real quick, we also get access to the fast lands that were in Kaladesh, and are pretty integral to this style of deck. We're only playing a couple. Actually, it looks like at this point I'm only playing one shock land. Everything else is basics, fast lands, or ether hubs. I guess Fabled Passage being part of the basics plan. I don't want to have a lot of lands that come into play tapped in the early game. And especially when we have access to Uro, I can find ways to get these into play that should hopefully not disrupt our curve out too much. But it's important to have, like, a lot of turn 1 sources for Attune with Ether, that also produce, more than just green mana, because your colored requirements are not as heavily skewed towards green, but you do need a decent amount of it in the mid game. But you want to have stuff like Thoughtseize earlier, if possible. This is one of the cards that's not in Kaladesh Remastered, but it's in Amonkhet Remastered, as you can see. This is basically the best discard spell they've ever printed, with some caveats for things like Cabal Therapy. But Cabal Therapy is not legal in the format. But this deck, or this card in general, I think is just better in more spots. What else we got going on here? Scarab God, played the hell out of this guy. Essentially, if you ever untap with this guy, it's pretty hard to lose those games. Bear in mind, all this is my experience within the standard format. I have no idea what's in store for us in Historic. I know a little bit about the format. And I think cards like this and Bristling Hydra might be a little slow, when we've got things like Muxus that we have to worry about. But we've got a decent amount of removal in the deck. We've got Thoughtseize to disrupt Muxus plus Heartless Act, although once it comes into play, it doesn't really matter. It's brought a lot of its friends along with it. So Thoughtseize is going to be really important there, as will likely Agonizing Remorse and Languish against Goblins. That Muxus Goblins deck is probably going to be the thing that beats our ass a few times, but see what happens. But Fatal Push, probably one of the best black removal spells ever printed as well. It's just super versatile, and that's basically the reason we're playing Fabled Passage at all in this deck. Otherwise, we'd probably have a couple more shocks and maybe one or two utility lands, like a castle or something, Castle Locthwain. But we want to be able to trigger Revolt on demand, essentially. But even just, people wanting to kill Glint-Sleeve Siphoner because it's going to start drawing cards on them, or, if we can play an Uro and then Fatal Push on the same turn, things of that nature. So we've got some agency over it. Last few cards round out the deck. We've got Hydroid Krasis. I just kind of wanted to have some big X spell that I could go over the top with if we start flooding out a little bit. Just something that'll rip off the top of the deck and say, okay, cool. We're just, right back in it. Kind of similar with Nissa, and this is almost certainly not the right call here, but I like this card. It's a cheap card. Play it on turn 3 if you need to. Just get the Scry Ball rolling, and then zero it for a turn or two after that. But you can also just, Hadouken them and play this for X equals 6 and have 10 damage through the air out of nowhere, So I like the flexibility of this card. Again, this is probably not the right call, but I'm just going to have some fun today. This is totally a list that I cooked up on my own. I didn't really see much else along the lines of this. But this is basically where I ended up at the end of the format when Kaladesh and Aether Revolt were getting ready to rotate out. That's basically it. I think I've gone over everything. Elder Gargoyle's just another thing to have in the late game that I have seen this in a number of lists. There's like a Sultai control list that I'll show you real quick. I actually copied that. I just pulled this off of MTG Top 8. But you can see they've got a pair of Elder Gargoyle on the board. It's not a card that's embarrassing to play in this format, which is good because I do like it quite a bit. So there's that. I've got 2 main, 2 in the board. This is going to be basically our anti-aggro card go-to. Just in the matchups against things like Goblins, we're going to be siding out like Glint-Sleeve Siphoner and Nissa, and just kind of this crap that doesn't do anything to impact the board early, and we're going to bring in the Gargoyles, Languish, Fatal Push. I might even bring in the Mystical Disputes, honestly, just to try and nab a Muxus. So if we can keep their War Chiefs and crap like that off the table, then we might be able to convert these. Plus, it's just the best card to answer a Muxus cleanly, if we can. 3 mana is a lot to ask, though. So we'll see. Playing a couple of Wilt as a concession to things like Witch's Oven, potentially Aetherworks Marvel, though often they're not going to play that card unless they're ready to spin the wheel on it, so it's probably not the answer we're looking for there. In those matchups, we're probably just bringing in Negate and Dispute, just to try and Agonizing Remorse. Agonizing Remorse plus Thoughtseize are going to be good against that if we run into it. There's also some mono-red decks running around with like Anax and Embercleave, just like they are in Standard, so might have some versatility out of this, but it could certainly be something else. Fatal Push just to go up to the last copy if we play against super aggressive decks, which I feel like we're probably going to at some point. There's like the Electrostatic Pummeler that's also just been released that people might be playing in Gruul decks. So we're going to have targets for this is what I'm getting around to saying. I just don't want all 4 in the main. Playing a One of Assassins trophy just to have a catch-all, because, again, I have no idea what the hell is going on in this format. I just want to be prepared for whatever. But that is basically it, so let's see if we can convert some wins here. I don't expect to have a lot of success today, but we'll find out. Hey, Kenzie, good to see you in here. Just did the deck breakdown. I don't know if you were in here for that or not. Not that I feel like you would probably be able to relate entirely to what it was I was talking about, but... Alright, being on the draw is good. We have Sanctum with Attune and Thoughtseize, plus a Rogue Refiner. Triple Attune is not that great, but, it's whatever. Taking Swamp here is going to kind of give our hand away a little bit. We could have done something like take Island or Forest, and then next turn play another Attune and Thoughtseize. Alright, so we're looking at some sort of mono-red list. I think we still probably need to Thoughtseize them. Oh, you caught the last bit. Alright, so this is just a straight-up mono-red list. I think I'm going to take Burning Tree Emissary here, because it's the thing that lets him like double spell next turn. And with only 2 lands in hand, they're going to be hurting for more than 1 spell a turn. Plus, if he rips like another Burning Tree, then he just has, 4 more power in play, and I ain't got time for that shit. I do not need another Swamp, I don't think. Just take an Island. If we do, we've gotten Attune with Ether, so... Wow, just straight to the face. Okay. This, I don't care if he kills with a removal spell. He might think we have, like, Aetherworks Marble next turn. We've got 6 energy, and he knows we have the 4th mana source. Okay. So what do I do here? If I play Nissa for X equals 2, kick it up to 4, then he's just going to Lightning Strike Rogue Refiner, kill it with Bone Crusher Giant, get us for 2. These Thoughtseizes are not great in this particular matchup, so they'll be coming out in the post-board games. Thank God we have all those Gargaroths. Alright. I think I'm going to force him to have to spend a Lightning Strike on this guy. And I guess we can Thoughtseize one of them as well. That'll save us a point. Seems like kind of counterintuitive, but... So he's going to strike Rogue Refiner. He might just strike our face, get in for... So put us to 9. Oh, he's got a Robber of the Rich. That was a pretty good draw. Yeah, we don't have a card in our deck to get us out of this, I don't think. Pretty sure. Well, let's take a look. The fact that this has prowess is what's going to kill us, actually. Because I could play Glint Sleeve Siphoner to block, and then he just strikes like Rogue Refiner, attacks with all of his dudes. We can block Bone Crusher, take 4. Thoughtseize to take that. Block here, we still take lethal. So yeah, there's just no... There's no out there, but that's okay. Drawing multiple Thoughtseize against the deck that's just trying to deal you damage is pretty terrible, so... we're going to take Fatal Push, we'll take the Gargaroths, and I'm going to... I think I'm going to take double Languish, and we'll pop out a Glint Sleeve Siphoner. And we'll try to play as like a little bit more of a control deck. I guess maybe we can take one more out. and bring in like a Miser's Wilt just in case. I want to be drawing. Well, we're not gonna have a lot of things to turn this on actually if we do that. So maybe we do this. I want to basically turn into like a control deck here, like I talked about. If we can find like removal spell, Uro, Hydra, Gargaroth, like that's probably our best curve. Like if one of those Rogue Refiners had been an Uro, we might have been able to squeak something out there. Alright, well, that's part of it. This is not the Muxus Goblins list, this is just like Red Deck wins. Sure. That's gonna put our Uro in a bit of a pinch. Thankfully we have that, what's it called? Wilt brought in. I understand this card is like a big part of the format, which is also kind of why I wanted to have Wilt. Is he gonna kill this? Nope. Because we can play Uro, we just won't be able to get it back until we find our Wilt, which is probably going to take a while. Does he not have a removal spell for this? I would think you would want to kill this, but what do I know? Maybe he was just waiting for me to have like a Rogue Refiner or something. That seems odd. Let's see, we're gonna have Scarab God next turn. And then we can bring back Glint Sleeve Siphoner. Glint Sleeve Siphoner, this is what I'm going to be curious about. I'm pretty sure that works against Grafdigger's Cage, because you're not bringing the creature back into play, you are bringing back a token that's a copy of it. So we're going to find out. I'm going to put a stop here. To my knowledge, he does not have access to exiling removal, so he is not going to be able to kill this Scarab God, like, permanently. He might have to spend, like, 2 removal spells on it. We'll put it back in our library. Spend, like, the next couple of turns, like, playing Aethersewer Harvester, Heartless Act, Fatal Push. Eventually get our Scarab God back. Fucking sick. Alright, we're gonna see if this works. Does work. He just didn't have anything going on. I wonder what was in his grip. Alright, Nissa out. We're gonna take in the other Wilt. We've got to be able to find that a little more easily, I think. It's not a big part of our game. Like, it literally only shuts down Uro. But he brought it in, I'm assuming, on the thought that I have Aetherworks Marvel, which it does shut down. So that's good. And at worst, it's just cycles, so. Nissa is a card I would like to have, and it would, in an ideal world, I would only play like 1 Wilt and 1 Nissa, so I could, you know, have this card to draw rather than a second copy of Wilt. But I just don't think we're going to get to a point in the game where this card really matters unless we're already super far ahead. All we need to do is stay alive in this matchup, which this card is not great at doing. Mr. Suave McDove. I just realized his name. Okay, I'd prefer if this were a Blossoming Marsh or whatever the hell it is. So we could have turn 2 Glint Sleeve with the threat of drawing a card. But that's okay. If we draw another land within the next couple of turns, we'll have access to Bristling Hydra pretty easily. Alright, so now he's going to want to have to hold up mana. Good thing we brought in the second copy of Wilt, by the way. Let's see. I think what I'm going to have to do is... trying to think. I'm going to have to cast this either now or next turn. The question is, do I want to take 5 damage or more? Or can I, like, afford to Ether Hub, to Heartless Act something, the next turn attune, like, Glint Sleeve? Or, like, Uro if we find another land? This thing is not going to live, so I'm not going to play that right now. I think I'm just going to play this and see what happens. Just protecting our life total. He's only got 3 cards in hand, so... Shock on a mountain. He played a land before he played that, which was a mistake. Alright, so he's gonna have a Chandra next turn. Okay, so he's holding that up so that we can't, gain life with our Uro. Which is fine. I think what I'm going to do is tune with Ether for Forest. I probably need to tune for Swamp. So if we play this now, he's just going to shock it. I want to try and save it until we can, like, run him out of removal. Or, like, run him out of cards. So, like, he's going to have this Chandra. Sweet. Like, there's nothing I can really do about that. But, like, we need to get this Bristling Hydra down ASAP. Because we're going to need to kill this thing. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense for him to do anything other than make mana here and cast Shock. Because if he exiles a card with it, then he doesn't get to use it. It just, like, throws a card away for no reason. Sure. That's pretty good, too. I could play Uro here. This is our one shot to gain life with it. If you don't, deals 2 damage. But I feel like we're going to need to pressure this Chandra, so just do that. Bomat Courier. Okay. He does not choose to play it. I guess that makes sense. So you have 2 removal spells. This will give us 2 activations of our Bristling Hydra, which I think is actually pretty important. Working on a land there is not good. We need to get this guard drop down, like, ASAP. That. Oh yeah, that just kills us. Fair enough. Alright, we probably should have brought in the Abrupt Decay too, actually. Once we saw the... I guess we didn't see the roiling thing until Game 3, so... Oh well. Let's see... It's hard for me to, you know, not be results-oriented, but I do want to take a look just to see if there's anything I felt like needed to change. 23 land... It's probably alright. Let's get a bigger sample size before we go around changing a whole bunch of shit. Like, it was unfortunate that Game 1 went the way it did with multiple Thoughtseize. In a matchup where we don't want that card. But, like, in a matchup against a Sultai control deck, having double Thoughtseize would have been awesome. So, that's just sometimes how it goes. This guy got the Ashiok avatar. I don't think this is a keep. Yorion. It might be a keep. This card likely doesn't do anything, and these are probably too slow, so we're already on like a mulligan to 5, or a 4. Alright, we can do this. That's gonna go away. This is like a blue-white control deck, maybe. I think what I'm actually going to do here is... Well, I'm not sure. So we play Swamp. The thing is, I might want to Thoughtseize him before you get something like Teferi down. Or no, I don't think Teferi's historic legal, actually. So the question is, do I try to like Glint Sleeve Siphoner? Let's do that, because if this gets countered for some reason, then we can next turn Ether Hub, Glint Sleeve Siphoner, and Thoughtseize. This deck is not going to be good at killing individual creatures, unless he like ends up having a Glass Casket or something like that this turn. I guess he could Seal Away, but I think Seal Away only works
you've got
against,
one heck of a nerve.
Tapped creatures. Shinigami Nikuru. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Okay. That's kind of a tilt, only because it's going to prevent us from drawing cards. Hey, Nick. I'm good. Seeing what I can do with this historic format. How about you? Alright, see what's going on here. Wrath of God, Thought Erasure, Teferi, another Narset. I think I'm just going to take this Teferi. Last Burn player wasn't right, but it was a good game. Yeah, all things considered, I think it was a decent match. Having the double Thoughtseize in Game 1 was not great for me, but it is what it is. Let's go with Forest, because we're gonna need that for Garderoth, so. You're a god of death. I'm gonna try my best not to overextend into this Wrath of God. Were you watching that game then? Or that match, rather? Maze Mind Tome, okay. I would not like to pay 2 energy to lose 1 life. That seems like a bad deal. Yeah, I mean, so to be fair, I am only sitting in, what should we call it? I'm only in gold right now because they did the rotation for the season, so not playing against the most high-skilled players at the moment. Not to say that I am. You know, certainly don't want to make anyone think that's the case. He can take any of these cards, I don't care. Yeah. He's got a Wrath of God, so like I'm not really interested in playing any of these creatures either. I'd much rather find like one of my Nissas or a Thoughtseize or something like that. So he took a Rogue Refiner. I guess that's probably a good call, because next turn I could kill Narset and play that and maybe draw like a Thoughtseize or something. Sure. Alright, so now we need to hold this Fabled Passage in case we draw... whatchamacallit? Fatal Push. Goddamn. Brain is not braining right now. So what do we do here? He's got Maze My Tome, Wrath of God, 1 unknown. I mean, I guess we could just jam Gargaroth here. So if we jam Gargaroth, he's going to Wrath of God, then we can untap, kill Narset, go from there. We still have like double Glint Sleeve Siphoner. Let's just try and do that. I mean, I'm not going to sit around and try and draw one of our 3 Gargaroths, you know? Like that's, or what the fuck is they called? What I just said, Fatal Push. I'm not going to sit around waiting for Fatal Push. When we've only got 3 in the deck, we're not drawing extra cards because of this Narset. At least with Gargaroth, it like forces his hand a little bit. Gives us the 2/2 token off of Apparition. And then we can immediately follow up with another Glint Sleeve Siphoner. Start drawing cards if he doesn't have any other way to stop that. And because this land came into play tapped, you can't Wrath plus Maze Mind Tome, which is going to slow him down. Yeah, exactly. You know, you can sit here and speculate about cards that you might draw, but it's better, in my opinion, a lot of the time to just play with the information you have available to you. Wow, he's not even going to Wrath, huh? Okay. The disrespect. Alright, so I'm going to make a beast. Or actually, no. Because this happens on attack, so I want to make a beast. That'll make him have to Wrath. That too, yeah. Sure. So he's doing this because he's planning on Wrath next turn. So you can clean up all of this stuff. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm not playing anything else here. Now that he doesn't have Skyclave Apparition, I don't fear his Yorion as much. Granted, he can easily just draw another one. You know, it's not like this is a lock or anything, but we'll just play a Siphoner here. I could try to go for the Greedo play and hope he doesn't have another Wrath. He's played a Yorion deck. He's got 80 cards in his library. He might only be on like Wrath of God and maybe like no Shatter the Sky or something like that. So let's see if we can just get him. Plus, if he plays like his third Nissa here or something, we can kill it in one shot and, you know, potentially give us a better chance at trying to get cards off of these Siphoners. Okay, well, that's another good reason to play more than one. Alright. Yeah, that's you know, literally these are the first matches I'm playing. Let's just move on. Done with this game. So I have no idea what to expect either. So this deck is far from perfectly constructed, I'm sure. Alright, so let's take out Fatal Push, because that card seems absolutely atrocious. I want to bring in Remorses. I probably just want all of the interaction, to be honest. Just get rid of Heartless Act, I think. Card does not do enough. Ethers for Harvester seems pretty irrelevant. You could take out, like... I guess we have Dispute. Yeah, give me all the interaction, man. Like, if he's going to try and play, like, on the stack more than to the board, then I don't need things like, you know, creature removal. That's just the case against control decks to begin with. The only other thing I'm trying to think of bringing in is if I want either, like, Assassin's Trophy or Wilt or something like that. Like, giving him a land is not great, but this does basically kill anything that's giving us an issue. This is fine against, like, some of his kind of dumpier cards, but I don't think it's any better than anything we've already got in the deck as it is. Yeah, that's why I don't ever play more than one or maybe two copies of this card, just because the trade-off is not negligible. It is a real thing. This is like a card you're happy to draw on turn 10 or 12 or something like that, but killing something, like killing a Teferi on turn 5 feels kind of bad. So, I don't know. I think my best bet is just to try to use Hand Disruption and counter spells to keep the problematic stuff from occurring. Like disputing Narsets and saving the gates for like Wrath of Gods and Thought Seizing, you know, the stuff that I don't want to spend these cards on. So we'll see. Scarab God's not going to be like super great, but it might give us a way to like just rip something off the top and have like a high impact card that they are forced to answer. Well, there's this hand. So, I'm tempted to keep this, only because we have a tune into Glint Sleeve, and we're going to get probably 2 cards off of this, if I had to guess. So we might be able to find a blue source. And we're going to have time anyway. Again, it's a Yorion deck, so, you know. Give me the Swamp. Yeah, fucking attune with Ether, man. If he has Glass Casket here, I'm gonna cry. Yeah. Trial of Ambition. Great. Didn't even realize this card was in the format. Alright, we'll be back to playing Magic. Problem is, we're not going to be able to counter a Narset here. This isn't bad with Yorion. Trial of Ambition, that is. No Narset, no Narset, no Narset. Yorion to hand? Okay, I can deal with that. Give me my blue source. Watch me draw like Botanical Sanctum this turn. Alright. He might have to Teferi next turn, so I don't feel like I can do anything other than sit here, honestly. The second we draw another blue source, we're going to spike one of these Rogue Refiners, though. Sure. This hand is, like, pretty Thoughtseize proof. He could take either counterspell here, and he can't, like, play around it this turn. Or play around the other one this turn. Why couldn't I draw my Thoughtseizes this game? I had to have Hydroid Krasis in the opening hand. Yeah, so Shinigami, I usually play standard. Alright, well, let's see. It gets 4 blue. So the reason I say that is because, like, I'm familiar with a lot of old format stuff, but I don't actively play it. I just, for the most part, I kind of feel like I had my fun with those cards and want to move on and just play with new stuff. But I have a particular soft spot for all the energy cards. Dorian, sure. But if I don't draw land here, I'm just conceding this match. I just got, like, totally dicked. I was not expecting you to play against Yorion in this format. I'll put it that way. Great. I'm still just going to concede this. There's no point. He's got such a huge mana advantage. Land coming in to play tap there is a kick in the balls. That's fair. I basically played, like, tournament standard from, like, 2007 through to before, like, right up to when this pandemic started. So, what was that, like, Time Spiral, Lorwyn era, all the way through to now. Been playing for years and years prior to that, but I never really took it that seriously. I'm cutting this stupid Aethersphere Harvester. Just don't think I'm going to need that card. 23 lands felt a little light, even with the Attunes and all the, like, draw card guys, so I'm going to go up to 1 breeding pool. Just give us an extra green source for turn 1, Attunes, and a blue source for when we sideboard into stuff like that. Like, this deck overall does not have a lot of blue sources in it. It's like Aether Hubs, Botanical Sanctums, a couple islands, and some Fabled Passage. Maybe Aether Hub gets to make a blue mana here or there, so just having 1 extra blue source seems alright. Let's save that change. Oh, okay. Yeah, I had a pretty funny match against a buddy of mine who, like, I usually play control decks. That's what a lot of the people that I've played against over the years know me for. And a friend of mine who's also in the same vein tends to play control decks, and we got paired up in round 1 of this particular FNM. And we draw our opening 7. He's like, okay, yeah, this looks pretty good, I'll keep. And unbeknownst to him, I was playing Mardu Vehicles that particular event. So I went, like, Inspiring Vantage, Toolcraft Exemplar, and he was just like, oh shit. Turn 2 Hardikiran, turn 3 Scrap Heap Scrounger, and he just, like, immediately picked him up. I'm guessing probably what he kept was like 3 or 4 lands, counterspell, card draw spell, and insert other card here. Thinking, oh, hey, look at this guy. He had a similar idea as us. Given this hand, I am going to take the Glint Sleeve Siphoner because we don't have a good way to stop that. Taking Ulamog doesn't seem relevant. Because he's not going to be able to cast that for a long time, and I don't care about his just purely energy-generating cards. Our main deck is not set up particularly well to fight this, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, I don't think I ever asked him what it was that he had in his hand, but that seems very likely, because a hand like that would normally be good against me. So when I curved out 1, 2, 3 on him, yeah, that was just basically it. Ooh. I think I just want to be mana efficient here. So the thing I'm not sure what I want to do is, do I want to do Uro or Rogue Refiner here? So if I play Rogue Refiner, the next turn I have 4 mana and I only have 5 mana worth of spells. Like if I don't draw another 2-drop or something like that, then I don't get to double spell and use all of my mana. So if I Uro, that lets me play Refiner plus Siphoner next turn. However, if I play Uro, then I don't have a clock. And part of me feels like this matchup is going to be more about having a clock than it is going to be about mana advantage, because he's got way bigger things to do than I do. See, there we go. We got saved. We drew a 2-mana spell, so next turn we can double spell. We'll save Uro for a later turn. It's fine. I think I want to attack before he plays Aetherworks Marvel and gets, like, energy off the trade. But if he has Aetherworks Marvel, we're probably just dead here. I'm surprised he's thinking this much about it. I kind of figure he'd just snap off the block here. Did he, like, disconnect or something? No. Alright, this is going to be a tough match, I think. Yeah, well, we are going to get our cards, at least. Drawing 3 lands in a row is pretty fucking awful. Alright, let's crack one of these. I'm going to put another Fabled Passage into play with Uro, and try and just pull as many lands out of the deck as we can. As it is, I'm going to need to get all of these Fabled Passages into play before I draw one of those basics, or we're just going to have a dead card in hand. Gargaroth is at least a thing. Okay. If he keeps one on top, it's got to be Marble. Yeah, he's got Marble. No, Thoughtseize. Well, takes our Gargaroth, but we're going to have Uro next turn at least. Wow, I'm really surprised that he did not have Marbled right there. Let's see, I want to... Should have cracked my Fabled Passage ahead of time, but that's alright. Okay, let's do this. Resolve. Forgot to go into full control before my turn started. Thankfully we did not draw it, but now we've got this dead, or mostly dead, Attune with Ether. It will give us a couple energy, which is not irrelevant. But otherwise it's mostly dead. If we Scarab God something back, I want it to be Elder Gargaroth, so we'll keep that. Drawing all this fucking dead nonsense. I'm gonna play one of these just so we can get 2 cards off of our Glint Sleeve Siphoners next turn. I'm just trying to kill him as fast as I can before Marvel comes down, because we are going to instantly lose to that card. Yep. Thankfully he's got an Ulamog in hand, so maybe he bricks here, but it's pretty unlikely. Never mind. He gets another look at it next turn, though. And this right here is exactly why energy was a problem in Standard. There's no card that removes energy counters from your opponent's, like, energy pool. And, you just get to spin Aetherworks Marvel for free, like, every single time. So he's going to go to 7 here. He's probably going to chump Uro. He like, kind of has to. He's already got enough to spin it, so I don't care about that. I think what I'm going to do here... 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to Scarab God. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to Scarab God, and then I'm going to bring back one of his Rogue Refiners. So, unless he, like, hits an Ulamog off this Aetherworks Marvel, I think we're in good shape. No, there it is. We actually still... No, we don't kill him quite yet. We're close, though. He gets another spin next turn. Yeah, it's pretty gross. Dude, all these lands. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? I just drew, like, every land in the deck that was left. Let's see, that's 3 of our 4 Blooming Marshes and 2 of our 4 Botanical Sanctums. We've got all of our basics, 3 or 4 of our Fabled Passages left. So we've got, what, 3 Ether Hubs, an Overgrown Tomb, and all the fast lands that I just talked about. So what happens? If I attack with everything, he can only block 2. He goes to 3. I think I have to set up 1 massive attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If he has 1 land, he can play another Ulamog. Energy's fun, man. I don't know why the hell they put this card in the set. This, like, if this ends up being a thing, which I have no idea if that's going to be the case or not, that's going to get banned eventually. Like, just like what happened in Standard. Okay. Let's see, so I can Thought Season. Yeah, it's stupid good. It has been. Souls. Alright, well, at least we get to get Ulamog out of here, so he's got to, like, rip or spin again. So I can, if I send everything, like, aka these 2 guys, I only get 2 damage in. Because he's just going to, like, block this. I can, like, Fatal Push one of these, and then he, like, blocks here, and then next turn I have less attackers, so... Alright, let's just pass turn. No attacks. I can still get a card off of my Glint Sleeve Siphoner unless he hits another Ulamog here. But he only has 2 more. Pretty good chance he might whiff. I have to keep in mind he can also gain 3 on the Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot. So I actually have to do 8 damage to kill him. Let's see, what did he take? He's got 1 Fatal Push. I'm looking at removal spells right now because that's what matters most. So 2 Heartless Axe, 1... not blocking here. Removal spells are all that really matters right now. Okay. I mean, we're probably still dead because of these goddamn Woodweaver's puzzle knots gaining him infinite life, but it's a start. So just gonna crack one now. I mean, that was about as good of a whiff as we could have hoped for, to be honest. Alright, well. Let's see, so if we Fatal Push now, get in with the Rogue Refiner and the 4-4. Leave back one Rogue Refiner to chump block, then he's got to basically draw or spin his way out of this. Yeah. Hitting Heartless Act is, like, perfectly fine when he's spinning Aetherworks Marvel. He's actually probably going to mill us. Oh, yeah. We have no way to win. We'll just let him kill us, too. I forgot to account for the 20 cards that thing mills. Alright, well, let's get... Yeah, he had Aetherworks Marvel and we didn't. I mean, that's just the story of how that card goes. Okay, so what I want is Agonizing Remorse, and I want Negate. I don't want Elder Gargaroth. That card is hella slow. And I think... So the problem is... He's got like Glint Sleeve Siphoner, Servant of the Conduit, and Rogue Refiner, just like we do. But he's also got like the big ass like top end payoff. So cards like Fatal Push and Heartless Act are like, they're like things I want, but they're not that good. All right, Nick. Thanks for stopping by for a little bit, man. I think I have to... I mean, this card would have been awesome to draw right there, too, because we could have just, you know, Hadoukened him and done 10 damage. So I think I have to keep that card in. They still haven't fixed this stupid bug. So I think what I have to do is just side out, like, a pair of Heartless Act. Like, we'll have 5 removal spells. Or, I'm sorry, 4. Yeah, dude. What the hell, man? This is even worse than it used to be. Look at this. They don't even have text on them. I just noticed that. WotC, please. Alright, so I'm going to leave us with 4 removal spells. We're going up to 6 hand disruption spells. So those are the best cards we have against Aetherworks Marvel. There's an argument for Wilt. If I had had a Wilt that game, maybe things would have been a little bit better. Scarab God might be too slow, so we'll bring in 1 Wilt. I think Wilt is not the answer that you want against Marvel, because oftentimes they're just going to play it, spin it, and you're dead. And that's whatever. That was like a pretty rare exception to that. But perhaps 1 will be fine. If this were an Ether Hub, I would be much happier with this hand, but I think we kind of have to keep it. I guess we could have taken out Krasis, maybe. This might be too slow for, like, the second copy of Wilt. It's not awful, but we don't have a tune. We don't have any other energy source that we can cast. We're basically praying to rip Ether Hub right here. He's on the mulligan to 6 at least. Just gotta cross our fingers and pray. Hey, give me that. Alright, well, he probably takes the Sleep Siphoner. Bitch! You thought you got me. Got him. Obviously. Alright, well, let's just hope this thing lives then. Can't play either of those cards, so whatever. Need the land, thank you. Kind of got there. So, the one thing that he has to worry about is whether or not he can, like, spend the energy for Glintsleeve Siphoner. And if he's spending the energy for Glintsleeve Siphoner, he probably doesn't have an Aetherworks Marvel, which is good news for us, but it's not great. Yeah, you can, again, with any of these cards, I don't care. I would probably take Rogue Refiner. Did he brick? Oh, he bricked. Hell yeah. Okay, Fable, or Attune with Ether is a good draw there, so we can play that, then play Uro, and get this Fable passage down, and start setting ourselves up for a bigger Hydrate Krasis. Let's get the other Forest. Worry about getting another Black Source with the Fable passage. We draw like a Thoughtseize here. No dice. That would have been crisp, though. How's he down to 12? Oh, he took 2 off Thoughtseize. Or double Thoughtseize, right? Okay. That Sprite is crisp. Alright, tables have turned. Our Glintsleeve Siphoner is going to pop off, and his is not. If he bricked again, I would not be surprised to see a concession here. Because next turn we're going to have Uro. Okay. No attacks, probably. Oh, he does want to attack. Okay. Grab a second, or second Black Source, I guess, yeah. Give me the Crad. We get to Thought Season too. Hell yeah. So let's attune for Island, Thoughtseize, and Uro. This gives us the most mana efficient play this turn. Take that Aetherworks Marble, thank you very much. Give me the energy. Get all that shit out of here. I'm gonna guess he doesn't have Uro in his deck, which is his mistake. Alright, yeah, he's digging hard. He's got to find land here or he's going to lose this game. Like, this is basically what happened against the Yorion deck, is we just got, like, out-mana'd, like, the entire game. So, it is what it is. Like, I can't sit here and, like, LOL all the way to the bank or anything like that. Hell yeah. I'm gonna Heartless Act as Servant of the Conduit next turn. Okay, so won that one partly due to mana issues on the part of our opponent. I think I actually am going to take these Krasis out because they seem very slow. And I think I will... I'm going to bring in this Fatal Push because we're on the draw, and I'm going to bring in the Wilt. Again, if he... Yeah, so this is the downside for the Sultai version versus the Teamer version. Not to say you couldn't play the Teamer Ultimatum from Ikoria, but that's I think a good redundant copy of that style of effect that deck gets to run. If you run in the Sultai version and it's in your hand, it's just like a dead card. You don't get to cast it, which is why I imagine they don't do it. Yeah, Genesis Ultimatum, thank you. But in the Teamer deck, you get to play Aetherworks Marvel and Genesis Ultimatum to try and hit Ulamog. The one card that they don't have access to that the deck eventually started to run is the Oath of the Gatewatch 6-mana Chandra, whatever the hell her name was, like Chandra Flame Wave or something like that. So that they could have like more hits that were like super high impact. You could play like 6-mana Chandra from the core set, but that one's not that great to hit. Anyway, aside from all that, so we're going to go up one more removal spell, one more wilt, take out these slow Hydroid Krasis, especially on the draw. And let's hope that that is good enough. Arguments for Mystical Dispute if we wanted to cut anything else, but I think this is probably our best configuration given our 75. Yeah, getting to run both of those for a little bit of redundancy is good. Because either Marvel finds Genesis Ultimatum or Genesis Ultimatum finds Aetherworks Marvel. Right? So they kind of like cross-cover each other. I literally started building it about 3 minutes before I started the stream because I hadn't thought about it ahead of time. But yeah, Flame Caller, that's it. Alright, this does have Thoughtseize in the Glint Sleeve Siphoner, so keep it. Actually, we actually have a backup Glint Sleeve in case we get Thoughtseized on like turn 2 or something. Okay. Good. Oats Chandra. Grabs Island. That's perfect. Because he has Woodweavers already. Oh shit! Like we're gonna need our Glint Sleeve Siphoners to do some work, so I'm just gonna take Heartless Act. Like Puzzle Knot's gonna put him up to 6 energy already, and he can do that like starting this turn, next turn, and then rip Aetherworks Marvel off the top. But again, like I talked about last round, using the information that you have access to right here and now, I think it's more pertinent. That's a decent draw. Give us our blue source. Because he might not draw Aetherworks Marvel. You know? Who the hell knows? And if he does anything else this turn, he might not have the requisite energy to play Aetherworks Marvel and spin it immediately. So, yeah, definitely want to keep my... Ooh, that was a hell of a draw. And we have this Overgrown Tomb to play tap that does not give away any information. Or gives away slightly less. Like, if it was important to us, we would play it untapped, right? Like, if we had a thing we wanted to cast. So we might be able to just spike him right here. He was on the mold of 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, he was on the mold of 6. Didn't even need it, baby. Yeah, exactly. I want to at least convert each of these Siphoners on one card. As long as I can do that, then whatever else happens is just either gravy or I'm fine with. Okay, well, we escaped that matchup. That doesn't feel like one we should win very often, but we got there. Cool. Oh, we got some fancy card back, huh? Does that actually have those symbols on there when you go to equip them? Curious. Not that I plan on doing that, but... Yeah, it does. That's kind of... I don't like that very much. Alright, anyway, it does. Yeah, it looks kind of odd to me. Alright, guys, I'm going to run to the restroom real quick, grab another drink, and I'll be back in just a couple of minutes. I'm just going to kill the the cam footage so you can, check out the list. If you have any suggestions, definitely let me know, and we'll come back to that in just a moment. Oops, that is not what I wanted to do. Alright, guys. It's not aesthetic, I agree with that. Having your magic artwork with a blatant set symbol or 4 across the back as your sleeves, not my favorite look. Okay, so played a couple matches now. 3 to be specific. Is there anything that I'm feeling like I want to adjust here? We've already cut that stupid Ether Sphere Harvester. That was just me on a whim, hey, do I want to have an energy payoff outside of Hydra and Glint Sleeve Siphoner? But doesn't seem to be necessary at the moment. Of course, then we're going to play against Mono Red a couple of times after this. I'm going to wish I had it. I don't think so. I think everything's feeling decent. We haven't really cast this yet, but the opportunity hasn't come up. Yeah, I think for the most part, I'm a little concerned about having this much at the 4 spot plus 7 cards that cost 4 mana or more, and let's be real, Uro basically costs 4 for it to be anything super meaningful. but I do like the fact that this puts an enormous amount of pressure on our opponents, like both of these, in different ways. And this card is like a good thing to come down on a turn where we want to do like if we haven't played an Uro and we're just naturally coming up to 4, great. If we did do an Uro, then we can do like a push or a Thoughtseize plus a Bristling Hydra, something like that. This is the card I'm looking at the most, to be honest. Like, this card is super strong in slower formats. Yeah, exactly. Like, you tap out for Bristling Hydra, and you have a built-in instant speed way to give it hexproof. It's like having a counter spell. So, like, if they only have one removal spell, they can't even contest this guy. They have to wait until the opportunity comes up. So I'm not sure about Crazes. I'm kind of thinking I want to cut it for something, but I don't know what. Maybe go down to like 1 Crazes, because realistically, we're not ever casting this card for less than X equals 4. Yeah, like I said, the opportunity hasn't come up. There would have been a pretty good spot to do it against the mono red guy in game 2, I think, but we were already in like pretty good shape that game. Just trying to think if there's any. Is there a better card we could play? It's like the problem is I don't want to have like 1 random negate or something like that, because like this is going to be dead against a lot of decks. Like if we get paired up against goblins, this is literally blank cardboard. And I'm like kind of concerned about that matchup because we're not particularly fast. Our interaction isn't, we're not all the way on one side or the other in terms of our interaction versus board presence. So we kind of have to have like the right mixture of cards. So I don't know. Narset's kind of a problem. Maybe we should do something like this. Cut 1 of each of these. Because I know Narset is actually like a relatively prevalent card in the format. Eliminate will help maintain our... Like, we're basically playing Heartless Act for things that cost like 3 or more. But there's not a lot of things that cost more than 3. So Eliminate will cover a lot of the ground that Heartless Act will, but it'll also give us some extra points against like Narset. I'm going to check now because I honestly can't remember if Teferi is legal in this format or not. Okay, he's banned, so we don't have to worry about that. And I feel like maybe having 1 more removal spell over a payoff card is good, because like we could put this card like over here, or yeah, frankly over here. That is not a 2-drop spell, even if it's 2-drop in our hand or 2 CMC in our hand. That gives us effectively 5 payoff cards. Bristling Hydra is not a payoff card per se. It's just like kind of a thing to bridge us to the late game. And if we ever have like multiples of these in our opening hand, like it's just an automatic mulligan. Like that's just not a card before like turn 4 or 5 minimum. Yeah, exactly. So let's give that a shot. We'll throw a couple of eliminates in there. If we'd had an eliminate against the Yorian guy in that game 1, that would have been a lot easier. We'd have at least like been in it and gotten cards off of our Glint Sleeve Siphoners, whereas I don't think we even got a single card off of either of them. Let's go. Let's make it happen. So we'll see how this goes. Eliminate also gives us a little bit of help against the Muxus decks. So, again, countering Muxus or removing it from the hand is the best way to go about it, but yeah, this hand's great. But just keeping the enablers off the table is also perfectly fine. Let's go with the island here. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping anyway. Alright, Alright, Glint-Sleeve Siphoner's gone. Well, at least that means we're just going to Thought Seize next turn. Oh. Then he's got a removal spell for Glint-Sleeve Siphoner, is how I read that. Well, let's make him have it. I find that people so often just, like, don't do things out of fear of what may happen. And, wow, more Sultai Aetherworks Marvel, huh? Okay. At least we think we can cast this turn. So, like, specifically, that tends to happen a lot with, like, counter spells. Like, people are just afraid to cast stuff into counter spells. It's like, why? You've got to just make them have it, you know? Like, what does not casting a spell into a counter spell achieve? All it does is allow them to, like, prevent you from doing something. Like, they're just time-walking you every time you do that. So, just cast your damn spells, make them have it. There are, of course, caveats to that, but generally speaking, I think people need to just cast their spells more often. Stop being scared. I really want a Thought Season. He's not going to have energy for Aetherworks Marvel next turn. So maybe we should Nissa here instead. Uro only cycles and gains 3 life. Thoughtseize can nab a Marvel if he has it. But if he has multiple Marvels, then we get like absolutely destroyed if we Thoughtseize him. So let's just do this and hope that he bricks for like one more turn. If I had a land there, I would Snap Play Bristling Hydra. Again, just to like get our clock going. Double land's fine. We'll draw one, get one off of Nissa, and then go from there. Okay. He either bricked or he forgot to crack his Fable Passage, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he did, so he couldn't have cast his Aetherworks Marvel even if he did have it. Cool. Alright, so same game plan. Heartless Act and eliminate ×1. Get out of here. Remorse, negate. Brought in Wilts. We cut the Nissas. And we cut one Scarab God. Oops. And I think that's all we did. I'm going to try running it back like this, especially because we don't know what his exact configuration is, but I've got my eye on Mystical Dispute for Game 3. It's effectively just going to be 3-mana Mana Leak, which is not great. But keeping them off of Aetherworks Marvel is paramount. That's like the biggest consideration. That being the case, maybe we'd have to cut the other Scarab God. Oh, you know what? Let's get this. Yeah, let's get these assholes out of here. We'll just bring in a pair. We don't want too much of it. But I want to rely on Hand Disruption, like cheap creatures, and a little bit of counter magic. We're going to kind of assume like a aggro control role, or a tempo, I guess, if you want to use modern vernacular. We're going to assume a tempo role in this matchup. We've kind of got a little bit of everything. We've got removal, we've got Hand Disruption, we've got a mulligan is what this is. This one we, I guess, are going to have to keep, and we can kick back Island. We have to turn one Fable Passage to get a Swamp. so he's probably got Glint Sleeve Siphoner on turn 2. Or not. That was wrong. Technically, you should wait until your opponent passes the turn, but whatever. If he did that, he might be trying to draw a 4th land. Is this going to be like Rogue Refiner or something? Island. Yep. Nailed it. Okay. I'm going to take 1 turn off to play this other Glint Sleeve Siphoner. Ceremonious Rejections in the format. There's a couple things that could counter Aetherworks Marvel here if he decides he wants to play it. So if he's giving it as much thought as I am, no guarantees, he might hold off. Okay. Wow, he didn't even hesitate. Rogue Refiner. Oh, Burrow. Do I just want to... Yeah, it's literally... He hasn't played Puzzle Knot, which makes me think he might not be Aetherworks Marvel. He already has 3 cards in the bin. I think I have to save this for when he goes to cast it as an actual creature and not just the front half. Of course, he knows I have it, which means he's going to be able to play around it, but that'll buy us a lot of time. It's certainly possible he doesn't have Aetherworks Marvel. I mean, obviously we're not playing it, so... Give me... Okay. It's a good draw. We could just get the Uro out of here, actually. Alright, so let's see. What do we do here? He has 4 cards in the bin total. So if he wants to get Uro, he could do something like Thoughtseize with Fable Passage, and that would allow him to get Uro. So I kind of feel like we need to Agonizing Remorse here. Let's do that first. Because if we Uro here, then we don't get to Uro plus Dispute and Remorse. We only get to Uro plus Hold Up Dispute. And that loses to like Thoughtseize or his own Remorse or something like that. So let's... Okay, so he does have Aetherworks Marvel. That's good to know. So I'm going to Aetherworks Marvel and... Or take Aetherworks Marvel. We'll hold up Mystical Dispute for his Uro. Truth facts. Get it out of here! This Aether Gus in his hand is rotting. I mean, he's doing what he can. He's racing us. But now we have perfect information, which is good. So I got that going for me, which is good. Negate, that's a great draw. And another Dispute. Alright, well, this game's probably locked up. So if I play Uro here, he's probably going to Aether Gust it, which is fine. Like, doesn't accomplish anything. It gets a card into his bin for Uro. But it also opens up the door for me to be able to, like, Uro next turn. And hold up Dispute or Negate or something. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He can't just hardcast Ugin next turn, which is nice. What could he do next turn? He could have Aetherworks Marble, which he cannot stop me from countering with Negate. So let's see what happens. Yeah, exactly. We're trading... Technically, we're trading 4 for 4 because I am taking a point every turn that I draw a card with Glint Sleeve Siphoner. But I could stop doing that if I decide I want to do that. So, especially if this resolves, now I can do whatever the hell I want. He should have Ether Gusted there. I'm like almost 100% certain of that. So now we have free reign. I'm going to do this now before I get like caught by some whatever nonsense. Now I can basically do whatever the hell I want. In terms of like taking damage and whatever else. What he's probably saving this Ether Gust for is the same thing that I'm saving my Mystical Dispute for, is when he goes to play Uro. And since he didn't do that, now he can't cast his Uro through Mystical Dispute. It is a choice, and it was, in my opinion, the wrong choice. I guess he can Ether Gust his own Rogue... No, he can't, because it has to be... No, he can Ether Gust his own Rogue Refiner. But then Dispute tags his Uro. So yeah, by not Ether Gusting there, he prevented himself from having an Uro come into play. Granted, he may not have known that. Like, I'm working with perfect information, he's not. I have a random card in my hand. Now times 2, times 3. But, like, I don't know why he didn't attack there. He can't block either of my guys. So, effectively now, I don't need to do anything. 1, 2, 3, 1. If he draws Mystical Dispute, or let's see, if he draws Negate, what happens? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. As long as I have both disputes up, he can't stop me from winning this game, so. And I don't need to win it next turn, I can win it a turn after that. I think I'm far enough ahead. Okay, he's going to go for Uro here. Get double disputed. Okay. As I say, if he has a land here, it might get a little dicey, but got him. Upgrade. Him having like a land there would have allowed him to have Ugin. If we don't draw another counterspell there, he's pretty high to win that game. So it wasn't like we were totally in the clear, but if he didn't play a land that turn and then like bricked on the following turn, I think he conceded like 1 turn prematurely. Like, yeah, Ugin would have locked it up. -2, he would have had Rogue Refiner plus Ugin and probably would have killed us. What were we at, like 9 or 11 or something like that? He would have had us in like 2 turns, so. I think he conceded a little prematurely there, but that's alright. I will take it. Okay, so, as I always do, oops, let's get that asshole back in here. Let's take a look at the deck. Thinking maybe I don't need 4 Gargaroths. I'm going to go up 1 more Negate, I think. This card's just like generally good in the matchups where you want it. So, maybe it's better to have Dispute, not sure. Dispute counters like their own disputes, counters Rogue Refiner, counters like things that cost more mana than it usually. It's also good against control decks. Yeah, maybe I want to Fourth Dispute instead. So if you're playing like a hard control deck, I think it's often better to play more negates than disputes. Like I would reverse these numbers, or go like with a 3 and 3 split or something, because your games are designed to go like super long most of the time. But in a deck like this, where you've got like some small creatures that you can get into play, and like I said at the beginning of that game, assume the aggro control or tempo role. Having cards like Mystical Dispute, you can put the squeeze on them and say, okay, well, you've got to act because I have stuff in play that you need to answer or present your game plan in front of, and then you can make them pay with these conditional counter spells, or the soft counter magic, essentially. So, in this particular list, I think Mystical Dispute is better. That's my, magic theory 101. The only caveat to that is when Teferi Time Raveler was in Standard, or in any format where that card's legal, cards like Mystical Dispute or Spell Pierce or things like that become a lot better, because once that guy comes down, none of that works. So your goal is to get under it as soon as possible. Alright, Squirmy the Worm. Wow, this 7-spell hand. I'm going to assume that's a mulligan. This is not a great hand either. We're on the draw. We have all of our colors. We have a Thoughtseize. Alright, I'll keep it. I can't think of many 5s that are demonstrably better than this hand, other than being absolute nut draws. Just see what's going on first. Alright, well, this guy's playing some nonsense. He's gonna play Brain Maggot next turn. So let's just take the Tested Champion. With the top 3 cards of your library, you can reveal a land card and put it into your hand. Okay, so he's going to play Brain Maggot next turn, for sure. Let's see Siphoner out of here. You can have an Attune with Ether. I don't care about that. I guess he could play whatever the green card in his hand is, but he's not. Yeah, he probably should have... Probably should have fought our Glint Sleeve Siphoner, so that was a mistake. But that means we're only going to get one card out of it, unfortunately. I like these Mirage Forests, these are cool. It's got an interesting split between the Unhinged Swamps and Mirage Forests. Oh, he's got the sleeves. He's got the the tacky sleeves. Ooh, nice. Uro, my man. But I can't cast it quite yet. Let's not throw Glint Sleeve Siphoner away, because I kind of want him to cast his the hell is this? Warbriar Blessing. And then as soon as we draw a Fatal Push, then we just totally destroy him. So this is where having Hydroid Krasis, I think, is probably going to be good, as long as we don't get Thoughtseize by the time we get around to casting that. No attacks. this what historic is? Just like Aetherworks Marvel on one end and like wackiness on the other. I'm okay with that. Why didn't he attack with Brain Maggot there? What the hell? Kind of gross art, right? It's like this thing with like blood all over it, sitting in your ear. Alright, so what does he do if we just like slam Gargaroth next turn? I guess he could have like something. He's got 2 unknowns in his hand, but he's playing cards like Warbriar Blessing. I don't think he's gonna have a lot that he can do about it. He's going for like synergy here. Like, this is probably the best card in his deck. Doesn't have a 3/2. Okay. Not gonna lie, this feels like a very strange matchup. I do not want to draw any more lands, I don't think. Not to say that we're not going to draw lands, but like, okay, what do you do about this? Show me what you got. Show me your moves. Okay. Okay. He's got 3 lands, a Warbriar's Blessing, and a random card in his hand. If this is the best that he can do, I am feeling pretty good about our Elder Gargaroth right now. Bristling Hydra, okay. Let's see, so if I just attack him, what does he do? He's like gonna try and trade, probably. Like these two. Then he can get the Mogus's favor back or whatever. I'm just gonna put a 3/3 into play. Let's just try to muscle him. If I didn't know all the contents of his hand, with the exception of 1 card, I'd probably draw a card there. It's fine. But I'm just going to try and beat his ass down. All of his guys are tiny. I'm assuming this is him trying to thin his library a little bit. If we draw an untapped land, I will Hydroid Krasis for X equals 4s. X equals 4. Yeah, you can put your Mogus's whatever the fuck on there if you want. Make it a 5/2. Trade with both of your creatures. That's what he's gonna do. Oh, he's gonna put it fight the 3/3. Okay. Did he not have any more basics? Kind of looks that way. Alright, so I'm probably gonna Thoughtseize Rogue Refiner this turn, or I could Thoughtseize Uro. So let's just send Bristling Hydra first, see what happens. He's only got 2 black mana up, not worried about it. He can either block to kill, or not block. Alright, he has literal nothing. Auto pay. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. Cool. Next turn we Rogue Refiner, eliminate his Nessian Wanderer. Okay, so he's got all lands in hand. Should have played Overgrown Tomb there. Don't know why he didn't. Or at least drawn a card first, then played Overgrown Tomb or untapped land based on what he drew. Sure. Tranquil Thicket. Does this just grab any land? Oh, it reveals a land card from up top. Okay. Shit. Wow, wow, wow. Alright, so I'm going to send both. I'm still going to hold fast my Rogue Refiner Eliminate play this turn. Like, most likely. We'll put this into play tapped, so, like, he thinks we might not have a thing to do. If he just wants to take 8, he can take 8 too. That's fine. Like, he can only block to kill one of ours, but I guess he'll just have none of it. That being the case, actually, I'm going to play Hydroid Crisis. If he doesn't draw an answer right now. Oops. For 4, please. Then he just loses. Yeah, look at his hand, dude. He's gotten a lot of land with his Nessian Wanderers, but land does not win games at this point. Yeah, it is what it is. I think our opponent is probably just playing with like what he has, which is fine. We've all been there. Actually, I need to run to the restroom real fast again, so I'll be right back. Okay, back. Yeah, that's totally reasonable. I think without throwing money at it, yeah, it can certainly be a difficult platform to grind like reasonable decks out of. being honest here, I don't think I need to change anything. Like that, maybe. You know, I've as far as Brawl is concerned, I built a Teferi Brawl deck. Never played it once. I built it like a week or two prior to them banning Teferi as a Brawl um, option. So I have not built another one since, although I've had the urge to do so. You got it. For me personally, whenever a new set comes out, I tend to throw like 150 to 200 bucks at it just to get like all the stuff that I need. And in doing so, and like getting all the wild cards and stuff that you open like alongside that, it feels like every about 3 sets or so, you open enough things to have enough wild cards to where you don't need to do that for the following set. Like you can basically go do that for 3, skip 1. Do that for 3, skip 1. You know, something like that. I don't care that he used Myers Grasp to kill Glint Sleeve Siphoner there because we're not going to draw a card off of it anyway. Part of why I did that, though, like or part of why I do that, I should say, is because it's a lot cheaper to do that than spending, you know, 500 bucks on one deck in Standard, like in Paper Magic. It's a lot more affordable to play on Arena that way than it is to do anything other than focus on one deck in Paper Magic. Like, if you wanted to have multiple decks in Paper Magic, it would cost you a lot more, which is what I used to do. But I made the decision earlier this year to basically just sell out of Paper Magic. With COVID going on and some other factors, it just did not seem like it was a thing that I was going to be doing at any point moving forward for quite a while. Yeah, I think I still have like a Pauper deck somewhere in all my stuff. That's like the one thing I didn't sell, but most of that stuff isn't worth anything, like enough to justify the effort that would take to going through all my stuff and buy listing it and things like that. But alright, so what is it going to take here? It doesn't matter, because I'm just going to be able to get it back. Yeah. And my thing is, the thing that was making it difficult for me, and totally by my own admission, is that I essentially only played like fully foiled out decks. Let's see, it's Thought Season here, see what's going on. Which, of course, only amplified is the cost. Oh god, so he's got a lot of shit. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice it. Man, that's annoying, actually. Sorry, I'll tell you a little more about that here in a second. I'm just deciding, do I want to deny him a draw? Or do I want to deny him the ability to actually kill this? Because even having like a 3-3 against what he's got going on is fine. And he's not drawn to anything like that crazy, so... Alright, fine, I'll take that. So that means we're probably going to have to lead with Nissa for a couple of turns here. We can Heartless Act this Brain Maggot, get Fatal Push back, like push the Idol on, play Nissa, start rolling it up or whatever. Yeah, so I started buying... Wow, he's going to use that on his own Brain Maggot? What? Okay. Let's just do this now before he draws, like, Blossoming Defense or something. I guess I should have done that in response. Oh well, whatever. I don't think it's going to matter. But I started buying, like, strictly foil stuff around, like, 2015. Alright, well, I'm going to assume he doesn't have anything here. If he made... You know, I don't know what the hell he was thinking. Maybe he totally just, like, next leveled me and he has another one of those things. Ancestral Mask. Okay, that's what he's up to. Yeah, no blocks. Alright, well, Fatal Push is going to do some work here. Alright, let's do this before we make any decisions with Elder Gargaroth. Okay. Yeah, you know, so actually what ended up happening is that I sold all my stuff off. I'm actually just going to make a 3-3 here. I just want to get a clock. I sold off all of my physical magic stuff. These are both pretty good, actually. Yeah, I'm just going to keep both. And I'm talking about everything. Like, over the last year or so, I sold off, like, most of my modern stuff. Because I just wasn't playing modern. I just didn't care for the format. But I sold that off, and I got... I don't know, probably somewhere in the ballpark of, like, 10k off of my modern stuff. Oh shit, he has a Pelucranos. Alright. I was not anticipating Pelucranos. Alright, well that means we need to scry here. I'd rather have... Actually, let's do this, because then I can use this as 0, get Rogue Refiner. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard for Modern to be a thing when Paper Magic isn't rolling. So it's kind of just a victim of circumstance or whatever. Oh shit, he's gonna get this Pelucranos back, isn't he? Yeah, he is. Shit. I think we're gonna lose this one, actually. But I sold all my modern stuff off, like, last year. And then this year I decided to finally sell off all my standard stuff. Sure. And I also sold my power, because it was, like, kind of diminishing a little bit in terms of its value. The vintage market's been kind of on the decline. Alright, we might be able to contain this Pelucranos. So, yeah, like, instead of sitting on, like, power and all this shit, decided to sell it off, and I actually bought, like, a new guitar. Like, the guitar of my dreams or whatever. As opposed to, sitting on cards that were just collecting dust in my closet. Do you mean Jeweled Lotus? Gilded Lotus has been a thing for a while. Sure. Yeah, Jeweled. I think Jeweled Lotus is pretty overhyped right now, if I'm being totally honest. Dude, I have Kraken like 20 feet away from me. I could go get some Kraken right now if I wanted to. Like, don't get me wrong, Jeweled Lotus is fine, but it's not gonna, like, crush. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. It's not gonna, like, absolutely dominate, you know? I mean, maybe. Like, Jeweled Lotus only casts your commander. So, like, there's only so much you can do with it. We might need a scry here, to be honest. Let's do that first. Yeah, we definitely do not want either of those. Alright, so we're going to get a couple of casts off of our Uro here, which is nice. This is going to buy us some time. Right, yeah. It's literally a commander card, and all it does is cast your commander. And... Sure. So, like, you can't do anything, like, super degenerate with it, I guess is what I'm getting around to. Sure. He's gonna cast Mogus's Favor here. And we're gonna totally blow him out with Fatal Push. Or I guess we could do it with Eliminate. It doesn't even have to be Fatal Push here. But let's do it with Fatal Push anyway, because Eliminate will be active regardless. Yeah. It's not sanctioned, it's a format that exists. But yeah, there's no like tournament, you know, demand for it or anything like that, so. Though, to be fair, like, EDH has a lot more sway on the secondary market than other places, or, like, other formats at the moment. For the most part, I agree, though. Yeah, EDH is a pretty casual format. Yeah, recently. This guy got a draw? Yeah, that makes sense. He's got life to burn. Alright, another Fatal Push. I think we gotta scry. We gotta find a way to kill this Pelucranos. Siphoner's not horrendous. So if we Uro, we can cast Siphoner and also hold up both of our removal spells, so sure. Yeah, I mean, you joke, but I honestly don't think that's that far away. Unfortunately. Let's see, probably not bringing back... Well, definitely not these three. Got a Rogue Refiner to spare. I think if I'm bringing anything back, it's going to be... Glint Sleeve Siphoner or Bristling Hide, or no. Rogue Refiner or Glint Sleeve Siphoner. Bristling Hydra is just going to be a 4/4. It's like not that much different than it is normally. So. Stay this way. All right, cool. Yeah, I mean, as smoothly as they did. I didn't play during the beta or anything like that, but from my understanding, it went decently well. It wasn't like flawless by any means. Alright, they have that stupid thing. Well, to be fair, the more they cast that card, the less they get to cast this card. So I'm okay with that. Yeah, I agree with that. How about no? Ancestral Mask. I used to put this on Llanowar Elves. Like, way back in the day. So when I was a kid, I used to kill more people with Llanowar Elves with Ancestral Mask and, like, Armadillo Cloak than basically anything else. Um... It wasn't even that, man. God. I kind of feel like I should just let this go. But Nissa is like the only thing that's like kind of keeping me in this, to be honest. If I could draw Scarab God, that would be awesome. Heartless Act. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Except he's just going to get to bring that back. So... let's do this. So we've got 6 cards in our bin. We have to exile 5 of them. So I want to use one of my removal spells before we bring back Uro. So let's scry 2. We have second Uro. And a Fatal Push. I don't think I want either of those things. I'm trying to find something to deal with this thing again. Oh, this is a 4-mana thing? Actually, that's not even that bad. Because what we'll do, we'll Uro this turn, after Heartless acting this thing. When he brings it back next turn, then we'll have the other Uro to draw. It'll go to the graveyard. We can Fatal Push to kill that. Okay, yeah, this is actually going to be fine. Yeah, for some reason my brain was like, 6 mana cost. And let's do this. Oh, it has counters on it. Oops, I just like totally screwed that up. That's okay. We can still Fatal Push that thing. Yeah, so Heartless Act is never going to be able to kill that thing, actually. Let's see, I can't actually do it this turn either, so I just have to sit here and take it. Never mind, yeah, this being a Heartless Act actually screws up that entire plan. Never mind. So actually what I need to do is find a Hydroid Krasis for like X equals a zillion. Okay. I still, like, honestly, I think we're still losing this game. Unless we could just, like, one-shot him. Which now we can't, because this thing is huge. Alright, well, we have a plan. No blocks. You can have Nissa, that's fine. Alright, so we're going to attack with Uro first. Yeah, sure, I don't care. Bristling Hydra, okay. Sure. Alright. there's a pretty good chance I'm actually still going to concede this game, but I want to see what we can do here. Thoughtseize. If this was an agonizing remorse, that'd be awesome. But of course it is not. Fuck it. Thoughtseize. Yes, get out of here. Alright, so when he goes to cast Pelucranos, I need to use Bristling Hydra. Because he's going to have far more than enough mana to activate it a few times once it's in play. Kill Uro, it's whatever. Don't care. See, now our Bristling Hydra can actually outclass this dickbag. See, we can spend 12 to make it an 8-7, and if he goes to, like, double block, he actually, like, loses all of his shit. Okay. Never mind, I think we're winning this game. Okay. We have an extra eliminate, so let's use that. Then we'll still have eliminate up on his turn. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. Right. Want to keep that Elder Gargaroth around. Something relevant, please. I feel like we've been drawing a lot of irrelevant stuff. It's pretty relevant. He's not going to have the cards to buy back his Pelucranos, so if he wants to do that, go for it. Oh, he has Castle, so that's pretty good, actually. Most of his stuff is not very good, though, so having this Bristling Hydra, I think, is actually going to be pretty good in the long run. Also, keep in mind, this is game 2. He's still got to win this one and next game to take the match. Which is a pretty tall order, if I'm being honest, with his deck. I get to bring in stuff like Agonizing Remorse to deal with this Pelucranos. And, like, better tune what I've got going on, where I don't think he gets that option. I'm actually... Let's see, do you cast that from hand? I'm okay with that. That ups our clock. Yeah, I'm good with that too, man. Let's go. Is he just, like, conceding that he's losing this game to me? Let's just do this. Let's just flex on this guy. Why not? Give me that. That's also a card to draw. I'm not even going to kill him. Why not? You got it. Okay. Alright, well fought, opponent. Oh yeah, he's... I mean, all things being said, I should have killed him. With the Bristling Hydra last turn, but I kind of forgot to click it a couple of times and pump it up. But I also don't think it matters. Like, we came back from being like pretty far down because this card is stupid. This card is like legitimately broken. Cool. I salute his suicide. Yeah, just didn't matter. Alright, Pelucranos. I was not expecting that card. Don't think that changes my construction at all. Yeah, pretty much. Let's see what we got here. Nothing? Okay, great. Alright, so looking at the deck again. So what would have been our game 3 plan? Definitely Agonizing Remorse. Probably the Fatal Push over Heartless Act. And possibly even Assassin's Trophy over the other Heartless Act. He's already getting 1,000,000 lands off of his Nessian Wanderers. I'm not worried about that. So just bring in 2 additional ways to keep that Pelucranos under control, and there's like almost 0 way that we lose that game. So, anyway, let's just move on. Got time for 1 or 2 more, depending on how long these take. We got paired up against Fibblethip. Let's see. Attune for probably Forest into Island, so we can Rogue Refiner. We'll have energy for black off Heartless Act. This will save us a couple energy in the long run by spending our first Attune to get a green source and then a blue source. Oh God. Pay. I don't think that changed anything. Not yet, anyway. Courier, okay. Okay, well, actually, Blooming Marsh is a better play there. This will let us actually kill one of his things. I think we actually have to hold up Heartless Act here. Next turn we can Rogue Refiner, and then Attune, or then Bristling Hydra. And if we draw a land at any point in between, then we can Elder Gargoyle. So yeah, we just need to protect our life total. Question is, what do we kill? We probably have to kill Bomat Courier, to be honest. What do you got, opponent? Can't be that hard of a decision. Play Burning Tree Emissary, get 2 free mana, go from there. Unless he timed out. Okay. Yeah, I think he totally timed out. Unfortunate. That's alright. That's fine draw. We can get to go 4 mana into 5 mana play. We're also at 18 going into his turn 3. Seems pretty good for us. And we're going to have Bristling Hydra with 2 activations up. Not bad. Ilando. Poor favor. I appreciate your understanding of having to correct 2 and 2. Not that I would get on you for that, but I do get on people for that a lot of the time. Dude, words are very important. Yeah, this Bristling Hydra is not dying. I am, a Hazoret, huh? Okay. I'm gonna have an Elder Gargaroth, and I'm not gonna care about that thing. I am, an English Nazi, and I don't care what people think about that. He has a Shatter Skull Smashing. How do I know what that is? Is that in his exile zone? Yeah, it's fine. Don't care. I appreciate that you are also right there with me on it. Oh, that was on a Light Up the Stage. That's what it was. Let's see. So if I play this, I go to 7 next turn. Unless I decide I want to toss this Bristling Hydra, which I probably don't. Alternatively, I could double attune Glint Sleeve Siphoner and put Bristling Hydra up to the point where Hazoret can't kill it, but I also need to make sure to kill this thing. I think I'm just going to get Gargaroth into play first. And I ain't blocking this turn, so fuck it. Sure. Alright, so he can block. Need to keep that in mind. But as long as he doesn't have Soulscar Mage in play, then he can't actually favorably block. So. presence into play. Can't do anything here. Sure. Yeah. Alright, excellent. Thoughtseize, go away. We did not draw any of you that game. I appreciate that. So I want Fatal Push, Gargaroth. Let me check something real fast. MTG top 8. I'm going to check the mono red list. I'm pretty sure they play, like generally speaking, pretty sure they play. No, they do not have, for the most part, they do not have Embercleave or anything like that. Some of them do. Let's see, do they have Annex? They do have Annex. Alright, maybe you just want a couple wilts just to bring in as a cheap thing that we can also cycle. Seems better than Thoughtseize for the most part. Maybe like an Assassin's Trophy and a wilt. Trophy can just like kill a creature if we need it to, like if we're that desperate. This is not great. Let's bring in the Languishes too. Let's try that, see what happens. Languish can actually kill Hazoret, actually. That's not irrelevant. So yeah, on retrospect, I'm glad I brought that in. It says Glintsey Siphoner plus energy for turn 2, Rogue Refiner, and Eliminate. It's not a fantastic hand, but it's a serviceable hand. One or both of these creatures is probably not living, but that's okay. If he's spending burn spells to kill our creatures, they're not going face. Which is probably what's happening right here. If I had to guess. Yep. Spending Bone Crusher Giant to do that, okay. Bone Crusher Giant. Bone Crusher Giant. Oh, light of the stage. No Bone Crusher Giant yet. The Akroan War. That makes me not want to cast Rogue Refiner this turn. He's like unlikely to cast the Akroan War. So I think what I'd rather do is Blooming Marsh. Probably eliminate this Bomat Courier with the cards under it. It's like the thing is, so like if he has a land in hand and I go Rogue Refiner and then he goes land, Akroan War, smack me for 2, next turn smacks me for 5, gets me down to 10, and then like I lose my Rogue Refiner. But if he just plays like Bone Crusher Giant and wants to throw his hand away or something like that, I think that's worse for me. So I'm going to do this while he is tapped out. If he plays Bone Crusher Giant, then we can just like Rogue Refiner and trade with it. Cool, see, so, okay, so he's not going to do either. Alright, that's not good for us. Languish? Alright, I gotta dig for Languish now. That ain't it. we are losing this game. We go to 7, or we go to 5 rather. He has no cards in hand. Alright, let's see what happens here. Perfect draw. This is 3 mana. Actually, I'm not going to stop him on his upkeep. He played a Grafdigger's Cage. We literally don't have anything that interrupts. Okay. Whatever, man. Didn't I say this like 2 matches ago that I was going to get paired against Mono Red and wish I had the 5th or the 4th Elder Gargaroth? I don't think we changed anything here. We just have to draw a little bit better. And he has to have less, like, hot fire. Pun fully intended. That ain't it. Push into Siphoner into Hydra. Or push into Siphoner into Gargaroth. It's got to be Gargaroth, right? Just hope we get there. Go away. I guess I could have, like, let him take a card first before doing that. Kind of my mistake, but whatever. Probably isn't going to matter. 1 card out of 52. Unlikely to really impact anything. Like, now he has to decide, do I play like a thing I can attack with or do this? And he chose to do that. Which is fine, I guess. Kind of hate that we don't get to cast Rogue Refiner here, but oh well. 1 land away from Elder Gargaroth. So like any land here other than a tap land is fine. Like no more of these. No more Botanical Sanctums. Any of the other, you know, 17 lands in our deck or whatever are good. Okay, I'm alright with that. Bristling Hydra. Let's just play that. Let's just play Big Green Idiot. That he can't easily kill. If we draw land, great, we'll Gargaroth. If not, then we'll Rogue Refiner and hopefully draw land. Sure, can't attack or block with it. Sweet. Sick. Alright, so I feel like we kind of need to save this Fatal Push for, like, Soulscar Mage or something. Sure, I don't care. You want to throw a card away from your hand? Throw a Ramanap Ruins at me? He needs 4 mana for that. Yep. Ooh, Scarab God's good here too. Let's just get Gargaroth in play, I think. Then we can worry about Scarab God and buying a bunch of shit back. Now he's got 9 toughness worth of things he's got to kill. It's unfortunate that if he attacks here, I have to block with Gargaroth. Maybe I shouldn't have attacked with Bristling Hydra. Oh, well, there's that, I suppose. Take that, mono red. Hell yeah. Alright, that worked out. Little dicey, but we got there in the end. Having Fatal Push into Siphoner, into Rogue Refiner, into Bristling Hydra, into... I guess we had 1 turn break before we could play Gargaroth. But that ended up working out. If you've never watched me stream before, then this is a pretty typical thing for me to do. Like in between games, just come back and like review and just see if anything is feeling like it needs to be adjusted. Liam, yeah, I mean it's not bad. When was the last time you updated? Again, the only card I'm still kind of looking at is this. Just not exactly sure what else I would play. Maybe just the 4th Uro? Like, shit, I don't know. Like, the thing is, we only have 24 lands. We don't always have a land that we're going to be playing off of Uro, and 3 mana draw card gain 3 is a little dubious. Maybe we could do something like one of these. Like a thing that we can just get down that can kill a thing and then stick around and potentially start accruing some value. Like this sort of mitigates our flood scenarios, which is really why I'm playing Krasis. Just being able to like toss excess lands or whatever. But also just being a thing that comes down and kills like Grafdigger's Cage or insert problematic thing here. Like this could kill Glint Sleeve Siphoner or Rogue Refiner or just some random creature and get them to spend some time killing it. Is that good enough though? So I don't really want to add anything above 4 mana. We've got 4 5-cost cards, and it seems like there are matchups where I like just need to survive, and then there are matchups where I don't want to tap out after like turn 3. Like so far, this card doesn't really fit into either of those situations, so maybe it's not Vraska. 2 or 3 updates behind. Yeah. I mean, arena updates aren't really even that big. If you're only that far behind, you're like maybe a gig of updates or something like that. Wouldn't mind having a non-creature. Because like if we're in a position where we have like Glint Sleeve Siphoner and Rogue Refiner, I'd like to be able to play something to the board that doesn't lead to us getting totally wrecked by like a Wrath of God effect, which we have seen literal Wrath of God tonight. I just don't think Vraska is exactly it. Yeah, man. Do it. Do it. Let's look at our options here. Collected, not collected, planeswalkers, historic. Okay. Not named Vraska, but in our colors. Because like planeswalkers are like the logical go-to for that, right? None of these seem appealing to me. This doesn't seem quite like what I'm looking for. I mean, like, to be honest, I don't really even know exactly what it is that I'm looking for. I wouldn't mind having a main deck answer that can kill Grafdigger's Cage or just like some random problematic permanent. Just trying to think what else. What else is this kill that we like don't have access to? I mean, like, realistic scenario, this comes down and kills like a little creature, eats some amount of combat damage and dies. Like, is that good enough for 4 mana? I guess when our top end is like pretty strong. It's not like the strongest, but it's pretty strong. Maybe Vraska's okay. Well, let's give it a shot. You know what? Whatever. We're experimenting here. Alright. One more match with Vraska. See how this goes. I don't think Vraska is like a terrible call. It's just, it kind of doesn't feel exactly right. Which, who knows? Maybe there's not a card that's exactly right. It's kind of medium, but we'll try it. Oh, hey, Liam, by the way, while you're in here, did you finish the Ancient Gods DLC? Hello, opponent? Is this like the Zendikar Rising pet? Kind of looks like it. Alright, well, thankfully it is ticking down off of our opponent's clock. While he's sitting there wasting my time. Alright, another blue-white deck of some variety. Okay. That is acceptable. Hopefully that means I'm going to get a card off of this guy. Tune for a swamp. Thought sees you. Fairy, Shark, Typhoon, Narset. I think we're taking Narset here. Good thing Glintzy Siphoner has Menace and does not care about a 0/4 wall. Now in theory, he could cycle Shark Typhoon here. and kill our Glint Sleeve Siphoner, so I do not want to do that exactly. He has one unknown. Oh shit, you haven't even tried it yet? I thought you were totally playing Ancient Gods. It's brutal, man. It's a lot harder than the base game. Wait, it's a sensor? Alright, you were just playing through the base game then? Have you, like, fully completed the base game then, at this point? I would assume so, but I also don't want to assume. Alright, so we probably need to play Bristling Hydra here. Okay, cool. So I need to play around another sensor, because that was not a card I was expecting. And if he doesn't play it, then I cannot attack with Glint Sleeve Siphoner. If he cycles Shark Typhoon here, then I lose my Glint Sleeve Siphoner. Give me that cod. Cool. I'm going to assume he has a Wrath of God here, so I'm not going to play another creature to the board. Let's do this so I can keep all my colors up. Play Nissa here. How about that? Or whoops, I guess I'll play a Rogue Refiner here and misclick. I should have played a Nissa there. That was totally a misclick. If I get Wrath here, I'm going to be mad. Mismatch to fairies, what the hell? I didn't even know that was possible. Yes, give me a card. Heartless Act. Good, that means I can move in with Glint Sleeve Siphoner, Rogue Refiner to kill Teferi, Bristling Hydra to face, and unless he has another shark here, then we're in good shape. Or should I save this? Should I just like trade my Glint Sleeve Siphoner? I don't even know, man. He has 6 cards in hand. I guess I have 6 cards too. He like doesn't know what I'm gonna do, so. Let's see if I Uro. How many cards do I have? 6 in the bin. I don't want to play Uro out of the bin quite yet, so I'm gonna Heartless Act this Shark. And then we'll play Nissa post-combat if anything happens here. He might have have like seal away or something. I don't know, he's just like gonna let it go, I guess. Two, three. Oh shit, I didn't realize we didn't have the other basics. Right, never mind. See if he has any counter spells. I would assume he does. I was like misclicking left and right, holy shit. I'm actually gonna keep this. That might be wrong, but I'm gonna keep it. I have a feeling another shark is in our future, which is kind of why I'm keeping that. I don't care about this, but... Alright, buckle in, folks. This is going to be a long match. Alright, I look like a genius now that I kept it. And by it, I mean Fatal Push, obviously. Yes. Ooh, good. We get to see what's going on. Reveal yourself! He has literal nothing. Okay. Well then. Goodbye. That being the case, I am sending... literal everything at Fairy, I think. I just want to keep him off of cards. Kind of figured that was the block he was going to make. Which is okay. Let's see. So I can cast Uro here. It's not the end of the world. I don't think I want either of those, actually. Well, maybe. So if he, what happens? If he draws a Wrath, then he Wraths, he gets my Uro and all this shit. I lose, like, my Dis is going to go down to 4 counters, or 3 counters. And the next turn I could Rogue Refiner to rebuild. Yeah, you know what? That's fine. Everything's fine. And if he doesn't have Wrath of God here, out of the 5 land, 1 card hand plus this, then we're in good shape. I can make a... He might have Settle the Wreckage. I gotta think about that. Might not necessarily want to rocket 2 of my lands into a Settle the Wreckage. Especially when I have 0 basics left. But he has no Settle the Wreckage represented now. So... Oh, he will actually. He's gonna have mana up. Oh, man. Give me a Thoughtseize. That's not a Thoughtseize. Oh god, I'm smelling a Settle the Wreckage now that I thought about it. I should just go for him. So if I go for him, what happens? He probably blocks Bristling Hydra with the wall. And, or, I mean, blocks my dudes. It doesn't matter which one he blocks because they're both going to die. I'm not losing the Bristling Hydra, because I'm going to... Well, potentially not. Man. He's got 4 lands and 2 unknowns. If I find a Thoughtseize here, then we would have been in good shape. Let's draw 1 card. Gargaroth, okay. You know, I'm just attacking him. Fuck that Teferi. Smelling settle the wreckage, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tap it. What are you doing here, my friend? I could do 11 damage to him. I think I'm good with 10. I don't think there's a big difference between 10 and 11. He like kind of has to Wrath here. Bottom, bottom. Like if he was gonna Wrath, see, called it. If he was gonna Wrath, he would have chumped these things and taken less damage. So he's trying to cut me off of cards, which means he does not have a Wrath. He's trying to buy like 1 more turn before Wrath shows up. So next turn, if I Nissa Ultimate, like I could float mana, like make lands, creatures, play another Nissa with the mana that I floated. Gideon of the Trials. Okay, so that means I have to kill Gideon then. That Uro deals. Okay. So he's still got 4 lands in play. He's been playing lands, but he hasn't been playing lands that I know of. Which means that his hand is becoming less and less disguised as time goes on. Alright, so if I make Nissa lands... Ooh, you know what? I can actually Nissa lands, then make more Nissa lands. But if I do that, I lose super hard to settle the wreckage. Like, that's probably just lights out if I make that play. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mana. Plus 2 here, so I have 13 mana total. And I need 8 to make an additional 2 5/5s. Which leaves me this as backup. So if that happens, I have all of this as backup. Maybe that's not that bad. Let's go Swamp. Swamp. Untap here. Okay. 1, 2, 3. So I can mostly throw away a Nissa here. If he doesn't have another Disallow, then I can get this to work. Or a Censor or something. So I have to send 3 at Gideon and 2 to him. Uro has a no damage, so I need to send this, this, and this here. And one here. I guess Uro can draw me a card, so I should probably attack. So if I only send these two... It's a block, and then he has lethal. Well, I gotta rethink these attacks, so... These go there, the rest go to face. So if he blocks to try and save Gideon, which he can't do, then Gideon still dies. I think I actually attacked wrong now that I look at it. I should have sent Bristling Hydro face. Alright, so this gives him an out. What's going on here? That's a good sign. Bottom. Oh, that was during his upkeep. That makes sense. This is game 1, dude. Holy fuck. And he's 6 minutes up on me. I gotta pick it up. Here comes Wrath of God. Oh, or not. Okay, so he has Settle the Wreckage. That's what he's got. Or some way to make a token or something. Yes. Playing this because I'm trying to find a Thoughtseize. That ain't it. Alright, so... If I attack with both, he has Settle the Wreckage, then I just play Bristling Hydra. Yeah, this is game 1, dude. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can play Bristling Hydra and Uro. So whatever, let's make him have Settle the Wreckage. If that's what he's gonna do. Okay. Resolves. Take action, I have no basics, whatever. Put that into play. Bristling Hydra. Oh, thanks Auto Tapper for tapping my mana like a fucking jackass, and now I can't cast Uro. Whatever. Rogue Refiner is good enough. Where are my Thoughtseizes, man? I don't think I've drawn more than one Thoughtseize this entire match. Or this entire game so far. Yeah, sure, bro. One Thoughtseize. Two Thoughtseize. Okay, so I've drawn 2. But I have, what, 25 cards? I would like to have drawn another one. It's okay, I think game 2 gets a lot better for us, actually. Or post-board games, I should say. He's had this Teferi in play like the entire time, and he's like barely held on. Arch of Araska, okay. Continue the trials, okay. It's annoying as ever. Sure. Only one choice here. I don't know that I want to play anything else. Maybe Uro is okay to play here because we have enough cards to get it back again if we need to. I could be wrong, but this might be the artwork that's on the Invocation Thoughtseize. Ooh, Eliminate's actually not that bad here. Unless he has Wrath. Eliminate might have won us the game in a couple different spots, actually. Just popping off Gideon and then attacking. If he attacks here, then we know he has Wrath of God. Or Cellular Wreckage or something. Narset, don't care. Yeah, pretty sure this is the Invocation artwork. But it is cool. Open your mind. Totally Kawato. Total Recall. Pact Negation. Okay. Don't care about that. Whatever. Not that we need that, but... Quaid! I'm going to only attack with Hydra and Rogue Refiner here. I guess I can attack with Uro to get a card. But I don't want to send the whole team. I'm really smelling... Oh, I should have played the Uro is what I should have done. Fuck, that was stupid. Whatever, this is enough to kill him. If he has Settle the Wreckage, then it doesn't matter. Settle the Wreckage. I'm going to save the other Uro. Well, maybe not. Thoughtseize, come on, Thoughtseize. Oh, right, he has a stupid Narset. Alright, well at least he can't attack me. There is that. It is? Okay, cool. I got the eye for it. Got it. Fuck, I forgot about that stupid Narset. Wrath of God, alright. Yeah, this game's probably over. Hopefully he attacks first. He just like defaults to an attack. Gotta try. Alright, so he's gone through Wrath of God. There's one Wrath of God. Sell the Wreckage. Wait, where the hell's his other Wrath of God? I know he's cast another Wrath of God this game. Oh, yeah, he went for that one. Alright, whatever. Alright, I'm gonna run to the restroom real fast. We'll see if we can smash out games 2 and 3, but I'll be right back. Okay, so I think sideboard games get a lot better for us. We get to take out Fatal Pushes, Heartless Axe, and bring in a bunch of counter spells, Agonizing Remorse. Yeah, that's basically it. So I got to cut 3 other things. Eliminate's okay because he's got Gideons and that kind of crap. Scarab God does not seem particularly good to me. Vraska's okay, also because it kills the 3-mana Planeswalkers. Maybe taking out 1 Bristling Hydra is okay. Bristling Hydra doesn't do anything against Wrath of God or Settle the Wreckage. Most of his stuff is not targeted, so it's just like a 4-power 4-mana creature, just not very good. I would like this hand a lot better if it had some sort of creature that I could cast early. Does have a Thoughtseize. I think what I'm going to do is lead with... Fuck, I don't know. This hand is actually not very good. We only have 1 blue mana, opportunity, so it's either going to have to go to Mystical Dispute or Nissa. Probably Nissa, but that might get censored, and then we just have this Mystical Dispute stranded. Bristling Hydra's not doing a lot on its own. I think we have to mulligan. There's this hand. Whatever. Thanks, deck, for giving me 2 of the worst hands I've seen all night right here at the end. Alright, there we go. And I totally fucking played the wrong land because I'm stupid. Whatever, get out of here. Riptide Laboratories in the format? I didn't even know that. I thought I turned emotes off. What the hell? Hieroglyphic Illumination's fine. Don't care about that. Disable emotes. Yes, I do not want emotes. Oh, you're just trying to, like, hit stuff. Are there any, like, good wizards to bring back? Like, historically, the best thing to do is bring back Shapers of Honor Vendilion Click, but doesn't seem like either of those cards are in the format. You got it, man. There's a real target for you. Oh, you want to combat, huh? Okay. Yeah, you know what? Fuck your Gideon. Get out of here, bitch. You're at 3 lands. Just drew your 4th. Okay. Scope this out. I'm gonna start drawing some Kraz, baby. Oh, hell yeah, lands. Yeah, settle the wreckage here. Nope. Sure. Do not care. Mystical Dispute's a good draw. Alright, so we have 2 counter spells with 4 power worth of pressure, and we're going to start drawing cards off of them. Give me every card, please. Boom, we'll start beating some ass. That'll be fine. Remorse is not good at this point in the game. Okay. It's a good final card for him to have. Alright, so we're going to draw our counter spell, plus a couple other cards. We do have an Agonizing Remorse? Hell yeah. Goodbye. Do not want either of those cards. We're set up to kill him next turn, potentially. Yeah, go away. So we can ultimate Nissa. 14 damage, baby. Boom. That's how you steal a game. Alright, so want a quick one there. He has Baffling and I don't think we change anything. Thinking maybe instead of Gargaroths, we want Bristling Hydra and Assassin's Trophy. I know I just said the Bristling Hydra doesn't do anything against his Wrath effects, but now that we have counter spells, those are much less likely to happen. Whereas, like, it's less likely for us to tap out for Gargaroth, or, you know, tap more mana for Gargaroth and be able to hold up a counter spell. Since apparently he's also got Pact of Negation in his deck. Every source you try and stream from has issues. I am outputting in 1440p right now. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I'm going to take Trophy and 1 Wilt, I think. Or, I'm sorry, I do want Trophy, not the Wilt. I want Hydra. Alright, well, we'll see what this does. So when you're talking about source, are you talking about like every quality that you try, or every platform that you're trying to stream from? This hand's okay. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Let's see. Let's go ahead and... Can I remorse him first? Okay. I'd rather that get censored than Glint Sleeve Siphoner. That's fine. Alright, so we know he has a land. We could hold up Negate, and then next turn, Siphoner plus Negate. What does he have in 4? He could play like a 3-mana Planeswalker, which would be bad. So if he has 3-mana Planeswalker plus Mystical Dispute, then we lose that fight. If he has nothing, then it's better to remorse him, and then next turn Siphoner plus Negate. The only thing that we really lose, like, badly to is if, well, is if we play Siphoner here, he has Baffling End. But then we can play Siphoner and hold up Negate, I guess. That's not the end of the world. Alright, I think this is the best possibles. If he plays like Narset here, it'll suck, but it's not the worst. Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking. Obviously, that's what I just talked about. But this turn, we get to Siphoner with Negate back up. So, like, he might go for Teferi here or something. If he goes for Narset, I think we have to let him have it. Just try and grind through the Narset. He's gonna Wrath of God here. Does he have Mystical Dispute? Nice. Okay. Give me the crad. Okay, no more lands, please. Dispute's a good draw. Let's remorse, see what's going on. Yeah, go away. Siphoner is so damn good in these matchups, man. It's like kind of stupid how good it is. What could he possibly play that we would want to dispute? So if he plays like Gideon, we can't stop that. With Mystical Dispute, because he'll just censor it. Just making think we might have double dispute. Okay, he's gonna cycle that. That's probably the right call. Now we can dispute if he has a Teferi or something. Or Torrential Gear Hulk. That'll be pretty good. Although I'm not sure exactly what he'd be Gear Hulking. Nothing. Gear Hulk just to block, I guess. Let's just keep doing this, just get lands out of our deck, and keep our attunes, like, live and doing things. Shove, shove, or top, bottom. Okay, shove, shove. Alright, well, we've got the uber slow clock on him. Fortunately, I can't do anything about that. That sucks. Man, Baffling End is annoying as shit. But Uro is not. Yes. Submit. See, okay, so I can do this and keep up double Mystical Dispute. Okay. He's likely to let Rogue Refiner hang out for a little while because this wall has it checked, but we're going to need to get Siphoner plus hold up double dispute pretty quick here. Which fortunately we can do this turn. Let's see what he does here. Just out of curiosity. Got it. Trying to play as quick as I can because he's got a lot of time on us. He's got 9 minutes on top of us, so the onus is on us to try and win this game. Two bottom is good times. He's not activating it during his upkeep, which means he's not like desperately digging for something. At least not yet. Please don't have another Baffling End. Second from the top. So what happens? Next turn... I don't want to necessarily blow my disputes on this, but next turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, get Uro into play, and I have double dispute up still. I think I just have to let that happen. It doesn't, like, permanently deal with it. I really don't want to blow this Eliminate on a stupid wall. So, okay. That's actually pretty good. We'll keep the negate in the bin. Maybe he'll think we'll have like Tameo or something like that to bring it back. No, sir. Alright, so he does not have Mystical Dispute, which is good for us. I do not want to play Glint Sleeve Siphoner right now, because you might have Wrath of God, and then we'll get totally wrecked. If even if you had Wrath of God, I guess we get totally wrecked either way, but whatever. Please don't tell me he has a counterspell here. He might have Mystical Dispute, actually. We could pay through it. Nice. Excellent. Alright, well now I am going to use this thing. Just clear the way. Just put him on a 2-turn clock. Ooh, we drew Trophy. Hell yeah. Alright, no reason to play anything other than this Uro to cycle. Rogue Refiner, yeah, no reason to play anything. Miria's Call. Okay. So you're gonna have 2 mana if he does this. Alright, whatever. Get your land, I don't care. You have no cards in hand, so it doesn't matter. If I draw another card, or if I draw a removal spell, then I can win this game. I think that's worth playing Rogue Refiner for. If I draw any way to disrupt this, which I did not. Okay. We have all of our basics, so Fabled Passage is blank. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he can memory to draw a completely new hand. Oh yeah, I don't ever let people say anything to me. Alright, well he loses. He just gave me 2 counterspells. I have all emotes, all chat, any of that bullshit turned off because I don't care what random people on the internet have to say to me about anything. Yes. Alright, well that that memory worked out pretty well for us. We do double dispute plus negate. Alright, cool. We cracked into platinum. Yeah, like, just cut everybody off. Don't ever let people flex that kind of power over you. I do it on everything. Like, literally in, like, Apex and Modern Warfare, like Warzone, I don't talk to anybody on there. If I need to point out something, I use the in-game, like, ping stuff. They've built enough of that in over the last few iterations of video games that you don't need to talk to people to, like, communicate what it is you're trying to say. If you're trying to, like, be a sweat lord and all you care about is winning at any cost, including your own sanity, then sure, you can have, like, voice chat with your opponents and your teammates. Yeah, if you're playing with friends, that's a whole different situation. But when it's in a situation where you're talking with random people on the internet who are 9 times out of 10, maybe 8 times out of 10, we'll give them a little bit more credit, but most of the time, a bunch of idiots. It's not worth the fuss. Anyway, okay, so we managed to squeak that one out. I think our sideboard helped a lot, actually, because our first game took us about half an hour out of the total 50 minutes that we had. Yeah, exactly. But once we got into the sideboard games and we had access to negates and mystical disputes and to a lesser degree the agonizing remorse, that didn't show up as much, but the counterspells really helped. Let us establish a board position and go from there. I would say, all in all, my first outing into Historic I enjoyed. I think this deck is a lot of fun. I mean, if you like drawing cards and playing a little bit more of a mid-range game that tends to skew a little bit more on the aggressive side in most of your matchups, then this kind of deck is probably something you would enjoy. Um, it's got really good removal between Fatal Push, Eliminate, Heartless Act. It covers like pretty much all your bases. You don't have to play like crappy red damage base removal or 3 mana nonsense like Murderous Rider or just Maelstrom Pulse or anything like that. Pulse honestly might be better than Assassin's Trophy. I will totally admit that. And I do think that is in the format, right? I heard somebody talking about it earlier today, not Collective. Yes, it is in the format. So perhaps that's better than Assassin's Trophy. Your mileage may vary. Being an instant is not irrelevant versus sorcery and 3 mana versus 2 mana. But aside from that, I think most of our cards were pretty good. We didn't play against anything where Languish would have been good. I basically had this in the deck for like goblins or any other potential decks that are trying to go wide. We didn't side that in once all night, although we did side in everything else, so maybe this is not the right call. I believe this was in the sideboard of the Sultai Control deck. Yeah, and the same amounts as well, but they also had like Extinction Event, so they're playing a little bit of that more reactive game. But I'm sure there could be some refinements here, but everything felt pretty good. This is our only real wild card slot at the moment. Started out with a couple Hydrocrisis, found out that there's not really a lot of opportunities to cast that. At least in the games that we played. We played, 5? Maybe 6 matches? I think it was 6 matches. And it just, like, every single time where it could have cast it, I just had better things to do. So, didn't get to see Scarab God shine too much, although we did have a few situations where we got to use him. And we did get confirmation, although I was pretty sure the way it worked, that this does get around Grafdigger's Cage. So that's nice, considering how prevalent Grafdigger's Cage is, especially because they're going to bring it in once they see you have Uro, if they don't already have it in the main deck. So this is a good way to sidestep all that nonsense. Hydra was actually pretty good. Just like kind of outclassed a lot of other creatures and made opponents' removal pretty awkward. Outside of our sweeper opponents, this thing did pretty good work, I'm not going to lie. The real cogs of the deck, though, are the energy cards for sure. Attune, Glint Sleeve Siphoner, Rogue Refiner, Bristling Hydra. Those are what held everything together. The other cards came in clutch in various situations, but those were the backbone of the entire deck, along with Thoughtseize. Which makes sense, that's why I called it Sultai Energy, But, anyway, I am already 45 minutes over budget, because that last round took forever. So I am going to call that a stream. If you are not following me here and you liked what you saw, I would appreciate the support. Shoutouts again to Shinigami Kuro for the follow today. Appreciate that. I'll be uploading this onto YouTube, so if you want to check that out at a later point, you can also do that there, youtube.com/canman87. And you can also follow me on Twitter at CanmanGaming, at Canman87Gaming, where I announce where I'll be, or what I'll be playing, when I'll be playing, all that sort of stuff. I swear I've spoken before. Excuse my stumbling. But yeah, any support you want to show me on any of these platforms would be greatly appreciated. Should be back on Sunday. Kind of had some stuff come up last week that made me not want to get on. I just wasn't feeling motivated. But most of the time I will be on Sundays for a pair of streams a little later, 6 to 8, 10 to 12 is what I usually tend to do. will not be Arena in all likelihood. We'll probably be playing some other stuff. Probably more Doom Eternal DLC, The Ancient Gods Part 1. Want to try and get through that. And we'll see what else from there. Anyway, yeah, Liam, thanks for hanging out, man. Good to see you around, as always. And hope to see you guys on Sunday, but if not, have a good rest of your weekend. And I will see you next time. Bye, guys.